something, about myself. And Flawed, can definitely attest to this because he's known me since we were like probably 15 or something like that. But I struggled with that a lot growing up because remember I told you the other day on the phone, I told you that it took me a long time to realize that something that I thought was a compliment was actually an insult.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
and that thing was when people would tell me, "Oh, you speak so well," as a kid growing up. I always thought that was a compliment. Oh, you're smart, you're eloquent, etc. But what that really meant was we don't expect a black person to be able to speak like you do.
Exactly. It was, what's the phrase? It was a backhanded compliment.
A backhanded compliment, exactly. So I feel like a lot of my teenage years specifically, when I did not have to be in certain environments at all, I did it completely by choice. I didn't have to be around certain people. I did it completely by choice. And a lot of that was because at the time, we were one of not that many black families that lived where we lived in Oakland County, right? So, for one, my sense of connection to the black community were with people that still lived in the hood for the most part. It was people from church, which is where I met Flaw, and people from my job. So
Okay.
you see what I'm saying? So those were people that I knew, like who all lived in the hood still and were doing what I would consider to be black shit. You know what I'm saying? And so my connection, like I said, to my blackness, if you will, was to be in the hood. So, but I felt like I had to do that because if I didn't, and if I just like hung out in Novi or if I hung out in Farmington or whatever, then I like almost like a sellout in a way.
I get
Even
it.
I
Yeah.
couldn't help that my parents moved me there. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I would almost feel like a sellout. So I would feel like I had to be a little bit extra. You know what I'm saying? And I might
Absolutely.
fight a little bit more than I would have otherwise. Cause you know me, I'm a cool, pretty laid back dude, but like I would feel like I'd have to turn it up because this is what niggas do. It's almost
Right,
like
right,
that,
right.
that Tupac quote when he was like, I'm gonna buy a Benz because that's what niggas do. I'm gonna smoke weed because that's what niggas do. I'm gonna drink Hennessy because that's what niggas do. I had that mindset at 16. You know what I'm
I get
saying?
it.
The reason I say all of that, one is just to kind of show like how it can psychologically affect you. And then two, because I was in dangerous situations I could have easily avoided. You know what I mean? But two, how much of that do you think affects celebrities? And the reason I say that is because now I don't know specifically in Houston where these dudes were located, but dice game, things like that, that sounds like hood settings at you know what I mean?
Well, this
How
the
much
part that's
do you think
crazy.
celebrities feel like they got to be in the hood still? And I don't mean their hood. I mean just
Just in
the
the
hood.
hood in general, because it is. But just to answer your question, after further information has been leaked, the bowling alley was supposedly in a really good neighborhood, actually.
Okay.
Uh, but I think celebrities do struggle with that because they come from a place, and a lot of their friends are still in that place, and you just don't be wanting people to think you forgot them or you turned your back on them. And unfortunately, I think celebrities could go about that a better way, meaning like I don't have to come to where y'all at to prove I haven't turned my back. I can maybe rent a hall or I could go somewhere that I know I'm comfortable at and invite y'all. And we can still break bread, have fun, and let y'all be in my environment. But to keep going back to a dangerous environment that may be filled with jealousy, that may be filled with unsavory characters that's still trying to get out, that has misguided anger, that's just not the best decision making because what ends up happening is a lot of times these artists don't necessarily get professional security. They just go get the shooter from their hood, and their shooter isn't trained, and their shooter is probably hot headed. And that probably actually escalate a lot of these situations because you really need security to de escalate things, to calm things down, and shoot as a last resort, not the first resort.
And
But
especially if you're just to touch on exactly what you're saying, especially if you're a guy who actually was one of them dudes like that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you was really in the streets getting busy like that, and all your homies was too, you can't use them as security because they're not going to calm you down and you're not going to calm them down.
at
Perfect
all.
example of that, is I'm not sure if you're familiar with battle rap really like that, but Sue Surf, he's a
Yeah.
battle rapper, and he's got some, some mainstream success as well as far as like features and stuff like that. So he's doing his music thing too.
Yeah, I'm
But
very
he just
familiar
got
with
caught
battle
up.
rap and surf. Yeah.
Yeah. But he just got caught up on a RICO in Jersey being part of the Rolling 60 Crips. And that got him for a shooting that he did back in 2018. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like things that you do back in those times will catch back up, especially if you're still going to be in that circle and you and everyone around you was active.
Yeah, that's
You know
like
what I mean? Like, you have to have security at that point. Like,
that's like the King Von situation, you know?
right.
If he would have had some professional security, he might not have put himself in that situation. Things might have been completely different. But he was a young man that had certain habits and maybe a temper and handled things a certain way. And he may have never broken those habits, and stuff went left. Stuff went left, man. And unfortunately, he lost his life. And it's like, me being in my 30s, my late 30s, it's like I done seen this so much. It comes a point to where, what are you proving? Like, even when I see young guys in all their videos with pistols, and it's like, bro, people been carrying pistols forever. Like, what are you really proving? Like, who are you prove? That doesn't even make you tough. It takes 7 pounds of pressure to pull the trigger. That doesn't make you tough.
I think that might be a conflict of the generations, because I think young people do think that makes them tough if they carry a gun and they ain't scared to use it.
Oh, okay.
I think so. Like, I mean, I totally disagree with that. I'm with you. Like, let's go to the shoulders. You know what I'm saying? But if somebody, I think today, like, because, and here's where I think that mentality at least comes from. And, you tell me what you think, but I think is mostly because, again, not everybody has the quote unquote, I don't even like to say it like this, but this is how people describe it. Everybody doesn't have the heart to kill. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you do, then that makes you that much colder and that much harder versus somebody who might hesitate on squeezing. So I think that's where the tough mentality comes from in that.
And it's the part I'm going to tell people, though. Like, unfortunately, dealing with people that have allegedly killed other people, and me knowing people that have allegedly killed other people, that's not as cut and dry as people make it seem. Like, oh, you got to have a heart to kill. No, you don't. You just got to pull the trigger. Like, at the end of the day, you just got to blank out emotionally and pull the trigger. Like, it doesn't make you ruthless. It doesn't make you the toughest person. It doesn't make you anything. Because, to be honest, a lot of people kill out of fear. They be scared.
Right. That right there. Exactly.
Like,
because exactly. Like, that's, and I know people who, rest in peace, my man Marcus. He got shot in the back of the head walking down the street. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's not tough. There's nothing. That's very cowardly.
Yeah, like, how tough is it to drive by somebody's house in a moving car and just shoot a bunch of random bullets? Like, is that really tough?
Exactly. R.I.P. my friend Monet. That's what happened to her. You know what I'm saying? Drive by. You know what I'm saying? Somebody was allegedly aiming at somebody else and she got hit. Innocent. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy stuff. Like, and then again, going back to the Takeoff situation, that's what they said with him. He wasn't involved in any altercation that happened at the bowling alley or anywhere else. Like, he was just there.
Exactly.
And now he's not here.